so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. Here we go again. I am grateful to be here with you all. It is a privilege and an honor to grow and share with all of you. And there has definitely been a fair amount of that going around. Growing is never the easiest thing. Stretching, brushing up against others' opinions or perspectives may be different, and always, checking back in with ourselves to see, are we being authentic? Are we being real? Have we done our best? And so I want to thank everyone who has challenged me, on the Positive Heads Facebook group in the last few days in regards to this sort of ongoing race issue that it bubbled up a few weeks ago with Erica's comment when she was hosting and I was out of town. And, I addressed it a few days ago. She addressed it a few times. I addressed it a few days ago, and it kind of continues to touch on a very sensitive topic as we all try and figure out the best way to navigate. So I felt like one more episode of talking about this is in order. I'm a glutton for punishment, guys. I'd be lying if I told you yesterday was easy. It was energetically a little bit tough. It definitely takes a toll, but someone made a comment, and I wish I had it in front of me. I would say who it was. They said that the way I had handled all of the sort of back and forth that was happening on the Positive Heads Facebook group had inspired them. And, I'd handled it with grace and ease, and what an inspiration it was. And then it occurred to me, it's like the light bulb went on when the person said that. It's like, wow, if this person only knew how many times in my life I have reacted with like anger or hostility or frustration or very fiery. And it just, all of a sudden it made me realize, oh my gosh, I'm growing, and I'm growing thanks to the people making these comments. And for that, I am humbled and honored. And I may be a slow learner, because that's been one for me. If you guys had seen my reactions to someone who disagreed with me in the past, could get messy at times. And so I'm growing, and I'm growing thanks to you. Thanks to any of you guys out there, whether you agree, disagree with some of the things that I'm putting out. I think that's important for all of us to understand. It's because of each other that we're growing. It's like it's this friction that causes growth. I can think of it with my brother and business partner, how many times we've kind of friction. He wants this idea. I've got this idea. Friction. And we play out these old patterns of sort of arguing at each other. Not that necessarily the healthiest thing. And we've gotten way better about it. But what ultimately would come out of it is the solution, right? Through that friction. So that's something that is really, really important, I think, for everyone to take into consideration. Anyone who, if just hating on anyone for disagreeing is missing the whole point. And I do think most everyone in their responses and the way they approached it has been respectable, and I appreciate that. Although, like I said, it was a little tough yesterday, especially when you feel like people are sort of ganging up on you. And, it's hard, right? We're sensitive beings. And, at the end of the day, it's happening for me, right? And it's happening for you. All of this is happening for all of us. So I would like to, there's a few things that I would like to go a little bit further down the rabbit hole of this, because it is such an important topic. It does deserve the attention that people, are talking about. And, one of the things I will say is the reviewer that sort of triggered all this, Brown NY Witch, was saying that there needed to be more diversity on the show, or not asking for more diversity on the show, rather. And that she would send suggestions. And I would say, please, anyone, any suggestions, I welcome them with open arms. I was pleased to go back and just look at the facts pertaining to that. And it turns out, I started the show with Dalian the Alien as my co-host, and in like 200-ish episodes, he was my co-host, and, he's from Chile. So he's a person of color. And, I was really surprised even to see, going back, checking the facts on that particular issue, how many people there have been, people of color on the show, and persons of color. And I think that does, speak to the fact that, sometimes it's easy when we're caught up in, sort of the problem. And there is a problem out there without enough diversity. I would agree. That exists. Privilege exists. All of that exists. But we've got to be careful not to project that onto something. And, after going back and really examining, my co-host, the person who spends as much energy on the show as I do, producing it, editing it, releasing it, Dalian the Alien, he is a key component. Without him, this show would not be living and breathing. You wouldn't be hearing it. And that is the energy that has been infused in the show from the beginning. And so, I just want to state that. Let's all be careful to not ever project a problem and carry that hot coal and place it, and bring it to the table when maybe it's not actually there. And I'll let you decide what the magical number is. About a third of the episodes feature a person of color. Considering it's a show that 4 out of 5 days of the week, it's designed to be just me alone. I think that's pretty good. So I'll let you decide if that's appropriate or not. I don't know what the magical number is, but I just want to make that point. And from there, I want to go on to how I can offer any healing in regards to this topic, and sort of come clean with any of the contribution that I've made towards the dysfunction, because I definitely have, and I'll touch on that. One of the things that someone shared, actually an ex girlfriend a person of color who I dearly love, Deba, actually shared a wonderful video in the Facebook group from Brené Brown talking about this, and I would recommend going and checking that out in the Positive Heads Facebook group. And if you're not in the group, please, it's a private group, so people can open up and about sensitive topics and things. So we'll just request and we'll add you. But check out the video on Brené Brown. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch a good amount of it, and some of her points are really powerful. She talks about, if we own our stories, we can write the ending. If we don't own our stories, they own us. She talks about the difference, owning the story of white privilege that has existed in this, in the U.S. especially. She talked about unearned privilege and, what that means. And when a person of color is telling you their story, choosing to believe it. Those are some of the takeaways from what I did watch, and I intend to go watch the rest of it. But just with time, I didn't get around to it. So I think that's super, super, super important, what she's saying. And I think sometimes that's what people have taken away, that I'm discounting what's happened when I say, let's look to the future and not focus on these things. And so I want to say I acknowledge everything that's happened. I acknowledge that there has been a lot of the stuff that has went on and continues to go on. And, what I want to add to that, though, is, we have to be so careful. And this is the point I've been trying to make. We have to be so careful to say, look at this thing, look at this thing, look at this thing, look at this thing. See this thing, see this problem, look at this, look at this. There's this problem, look at this. What are we doing when we're doing that? We're just calling in more of that energy. Esther Hicks talks about leave history in the history. Now, I agree with Brene here. To a point, we have to own it. We have to own it, but then let it go. I feel like there's a lot of people who feel the need to beat the drum, above and beyond what is necessary in certain interactions, right? And I understand that's coming from a place of hurt and pain, and I respect that. But owning it for the purpose of releasing it is something that I feel like we really have to move into, because if we continue to look back and focus on it, where attention goes, energy flows. What we focus on, we're going to see more of. So I think there has to be a healthy balance there. One of the other things that I feel like really needs to happen is sort of a lot of the, for me, joking has always been a big part of who I am. And if my family, or, you grew up around me, I'm the one in the family who's always taking the joke too far and pushing it past the comfort level. I mean, I really reined it in for this show with how over the top I can be at sometimes, because I just find great joy in over the top jokes, right? And so have I ever contributed to jokes that have some racial element to it? Yes. Have I ever laughed at things that really, what I've learned, and it's taken me a long time to learn, my justification at the time was, I'm just being silly. I'm just being fun. It's kind of like, I would, if someone squeals their wheels driving, I'll be like, give them hell. And that's kind of making fun of sort of rednecks, culture, Southern things. I feel like I can say that because I grew up in Virginia, right? And so, all my roots are from North Carolina. A lot of them talk like this. A lot of my relatives, talk exactly like that. So I feel like that justifies me to sort of make those sort of jokes, especially. I feel like a lot of black people feel justified in using the N-word, right? And we're taking that word and that was used so negatively for so long and making it our own, right? And so there's a right there to do that. Here's what I've come to in my own perspective on all of this. If it's a joke that you wouldn't tell in front of everyone, you probably shouldn't be telling it, because the energetics of it are felt. If there's pain attached to a word or an idea, my recommendation is not to give that any more energy. And so now when those sorts of jokes come up, I realize, okay, yeah, maybe it's meant in good fun from one perspective and it's light, but there's an underlying energy that's there that you're contributing to separation and judgment. And, you're feeding into a pain body. You're giving life force. It's like there is no hiding energetically from anyone, anything. It's all connected. It's all felt. Every word you utter, every thought you feel, it is all accounted for and affecting the world that is an extension of you. And so I have to say, on behalf of myself, for not understanding this my entire life and really firmly understanding it at this point, I'm sorry that I've ever contributed in any way energetically. I would ask anyone out there to consider this same thing, contributing. If it's something that you wouldn't say in front of anyone, you probably shouldn't be giving any energy to it if it would cause pain, right? Because the truth is, it is causing pain if it goes out there, and it is being felt in the collective consciousness of the oneness of humanity. The other thing I would like to do is really, as a, 99% European white male, having done my ancestry, I know there's been a lot of my ancestral line that has done a lot of damage, has done a lot of hurt. And for that, I want to apologize to anyone out there, any person of color that feels that what I represent or my ancestry represents has caused you great pain on behalf of my physical ancestry and my spiritual ancestry, right? I think it's all linked. I want to apologize from the deepest part of my heart to you, to know that I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian prayer. That's what I send to all of you. And, I can't go back in time and change anything that's happened. What I can do is offer myself to bring healing. And if anyone ever wants to come to me and feels a need to talk about their pain, I said, let's put the old story down, right, as soon as we can. But if someone has the need to still verbalize that in any way, I would happily apologize in person to any one of you for any pain that my ancestral line has ever caused. And, so, that's it. That's what I want to put out there. And I hope it's felt. I hope it's received. I hope it can bring some level of healing. I am speaking for the collective part of my ancestral line that is at this point where it's understands the damage that's been done. And, I'm sorry. I love you. One of the other comments and dialogues that I had with someone yesterday was, I'd made the comment on the last episode where I addressed this, that I don't see race when booking, because I don't. And the person's comment was, well, that is privilege in itself, right? And my response to that is, would it be better for me to start seeing race when booking, or rather, would it be better if the whole world saw things the way I did? They're not considering race who they sort of connect with, and all of these things. It's not a consideration. It's just purely based off of the energy of that person and what they represent. Or what's the better? Well, I think if the whole world acted like that now, we'd be healed, right? There'd be a lot of unity and coming together and collaboration, and this collective pain would be gone, right? So that being said, I don't see the benefit in me. It's like the Wayne Dyer quote I used the other day. I can't be poor enough to help poor people. You can't, if I go backwards on where I'm at, it doesn't help anything. What helps is me being an example of what the future looks like. And that's what I'm doing to the very, very best of my ability. And, I'm sure there's people who are going to find offense somewhere in these words, right? It's, and I would just question any of those people. Like, listen to my intention. What is my heart? I'm a person. I'm perfectly imperfect, just like you are. What is the intention of the person? That's the most important thing, always. Getting caught up on the verbiage. There's people who are listening for me to say the wrong word, the wrong pronunciation, so that they can see, there's the problem. There's you're off. You're woof. That's gross. That's, whatever. What is the intention of the person? Right. And my intention is very, very, very pure here. And so if you're someone that has that predisposition, I would ask you to really, really, really look at what are you feeding on. Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, and it likes to feed on division and what's wrong and the problem. And that's where it gets its energy. And I'm not judging anyone who is or isn't doing that. I love all of you exactly where you are. I've done that. I know I've done it. I know from personal experience, I've done it a lot. So I'm no better than anyone, but let's really look at this. When we're looking for an opportunity to be, to say what's wrong and to drum up, beat the drum of what's wrong, you're going to only get more of what's wrong. Look, be the, grace that you want to see in the world. Live and breathe the beautiful poem that I shared actually yesterday in a song by Satnam Kaur called Servant of Peace. It's so beautiful. And she reads off in the song a poem by St. Francis of Assisi that actually Wayne Dyer used to read as well. And it says, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring love. Where there is offense, let me bring pardon. Where there is discord, let me bring union. Where there is error, let me bring truth. Where there is doubt, let me bring faith. Where there is despair, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, let me bring your light. Where there is sadness, let me bring joy. O Master, let me not seek as much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. And here's the part that I really wanted to get to. For it is in giving that one received. It is in self-forgetting that one finds. This is the big one. It is in pardoning that one is pardoned. It is in dying that one is raised to eternal life. And that's the thing. It is in pardoning that one is pardoned. It is in pardoning that one is pardoned. And if I've said anything that is off or wrong or a mispronunciation or any of those things, I ask for you to pardon me the way I pardon you. I love you all so much for the opportunity to grow together. I am truly a better person because of each of you. And I cannot thank you enough. And with that being said, I have a song to leave you with. This song is called Grace, Fully. It's the acoustic version by Wildlight. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Until next time, I love you all so, so much. Journey well. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
Check. Dear P-Heads, lovely P-Heads, it is I, Dalian the Alien, talking to you from a distant land, bringing you a bonus track today, actually. And I wanted to congratulate everyone because I know it's been a trying time altogether for many reasons, not just all the stuff that's been discussed in the group and the podcast, but in general, of course. And I want to thank you all and congratulate you all for hanging in there, for keeping your minds open, your hearts open, and taking it one day at a time. So Brandon talked about the prayer by St. Francis of Assisi earlier in the episode, and actually he had shared a beautiful musical version of this by an artist called Satnam Kaur, I believe is the name, but the song is called Servant of Peace. So we're going to play this after, and the sung version of the prayer comes in more than halfway into it, something like 4 minutes in, so listen to the very end if you want to check this out. But like he said, we're going to play Gracefully by Wildlight first, and then after this will be a Servant of Peace. So thank you all for listening, everyone, and make it a great day.
gracefully falling down like a river, like the water running on, moving the mountainside. You are stronger, you can shape it. Gracefully falling down like a river, like the water running on, moving the mountainside. You are stronger, you can shape it. And as you get to the fire, so be made. Steam and ember into spires, circle of stones, boulders broken, so you can hold them, so you can hold all these bones of old. Stories spoken, so you can be them, so we can breathe. Gracefully falling down like a river, like the water running on, moving the mountainside. You are stronger, you can shape it. Gracefully falling down like a river, like the water running on, moving the mountainside. You are stronger, you can shape it. In like a wave, out like a sign, catch it on the wind, deep into your longing. Trench of tears offered open, so you can give them, so you can give to the ocean. Oh, moving moments, so we can hear them, so we can hear all these aching songs. Ancient swimmers, keepers of balance, givers of sound. Time begins, still they are weaving, so we can find them, so we be found. Circle of stones, boulders broken, so you can hold them, so you can hold all these bones of old. Stories spoken, so you can be them, so you can breathe. Circle of stones down, boulders broken, so you can hold them, so you can hold all these bones of mountainside. Stories strong, so you can be shaped, so you can breathe. Circle of stones down, boulders broken, so you can hold them, so you can hold all these bones of mountainside. Stories strong, so you can be shaped, so you can breathe. जुगाद सच है बे सच नानक होसी बे सच आद सच जुगाद सच है बे सच नानक होसी बे सच आद सच जुगाद सच है बे सच नानक होसी बे सच आद सच जुगाद सच है बे सच नानक होसी बे सच आद सच जुगाद सच है बे सच नानक होसी बे सच आद सच जुगाद सच है बे सच नानक होसी बे सच आद सच जुगाद सच है बे सच नानक होसी बे सच Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Oh, divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. to God.